Uma Musume Pretty Derby was conceived around 2016 by Cygames before its official announcement in 2017. However, the game experienced multiple delays, causing the anime adaptation to debut in 2018, 3 years before the game's launch. During the game's development, there were some Idolmaster veterans within the dev team. Most notably, Akihiro Ishihara, one of the original directors for the first Idolmaster game, was one of the writers for the Uma Musume anime. However, he had since left Cygames in 2019. While it is unclear how much influence he had within the actual Uma Musume game's development, one thing came across as a surprise. The Uma Musume game became a Shiny Colors clone? Albeit not as common as rhythm games, there have been a good number of Shiny Colors clones released over the past few years. Anyone here heard of Q? Anyone? Perhaps it isn't too shocking, since we saw training cutscenes as early as the first few trailers for Uma Musume, so we had some expectations over how close to IMAS this game could be. Uma Musume is a unique case though. The game is developed by Cygames, who are also the creators of other popular mobile titles such as Rage of Bahamut, Shadowverse, and Grand Blue Fantasy. They are also the developers for Idolmaster Cinderella Girls, which we noted in our Cinderella Girls gameplay review. Cygames have likely learned a lot about idol raising working with Bandai Namco on an Idolmaster game, perhaps a bit too much. Uma Musume is a management simulation, a concept that us IMAS producers are all too familiar with at this point. However, Uma Musume is more of a pure numbers game than Shiny Colors, making it more in line with other raising games like Monster Rancher and Digimon World. The IMAS comparisons are going to come up multiple times for this game, and it's easy to see why. Taking a look at Uma Musume and comparing it to a game like Shiny Colors can show you just how far the raising simulation genre has evolved over the past couple of years. Maybe it can give us insight on how the genre can grow going forward. If you are somewhat new to these types of games, you can check out our playlist about the history of Idolmaster gameplay. Let's cut to the chase. Uma Musume is a more passive game. While you have to manage each girl's stats yourself, the game's main races have no gameplay whatsoever. You simply have to watch the race happen in real time. Think of it as similar to Sonic Adventure 2's Chow races. In Shiny Colors, you are an active participant during lives and fests. You have to select the judge you wish to target, which skill you wish to use, and time your press against the appeal bar. It's a lot closer to a turn-based RPG like Dragon Quest or Persona, but with a larger emphasis on timed inputs. The second big difference is the inherent system. When you finish training a girl in Uma Musume, you can use her to battle other girls or have your horse girl give her skills to another girl that you're going to train later. But it's not only one girl, but multiple that can be used in the inherent system. How come this is such a big difference? Because this guarantees that each training session you do will deliver more variety to your strategy, and your girls are going to be stronger with each training session. The game forces you to use several girls at a time. Unlike Shiny Colors, focusing on a single attribute allows players to keep building off this attribute with 5 other girls. PvP requires forming groups of up to 15 girls. You're going to do a lot of training with a lot of modifications in your build. The main gameplay of Uma Musume is the campaign mode, where the goal is to win the Ura Finals, fairly similar to the Wing campaign of Shiny Colors. Whereas Wing spans up to 32 weeks per playthrough, the Ura Finals vary depending on the girl. In general, these can span for more than one in-game year, which is measured in turns, one turn equating to one in-game week. The period between deadlines can vary too, from 8 turns to a whopping 25 turns, unlike the stable 8 weeks per season in Shiny Colors. At the start of each campaign, we can already find some similarities with Shiny. The game starts each time with the intro cutscene playing out, kinda similar to a card event in Shiny. Then there's studying, functioning very similar to photo shoots, a training session that costs less stamina than the others. The number of debuffs or accidents that happen in each playthrough is far greater in Uma Musume than in Shiny Colors. In Shiny, accidents are more likely to occur if your idol is low on stamina, incentivizing the player to take breaks if necessary in order to actually gain any buffs. However, in Uma Musume, even if your girl is successful in her training, there is a small chance she will get a debuff. There is no way to prevent this, it is purely RNG. There is a story reason, however, probably to lessen the pain, such as falling on the muddy track or being called a little kid. Bunch of jerks. There is no memory appeal level or level of affection within a run. Instead, the girl's motivation in Uma directly affects her performance. This will be important to increase the base stats of the girl during the race. This can be raised or lowered by how well you are training, the stats the girl wants, the support cards used alongside the girl, or going on a date with her. Yes, you can actually go on a date with the horse girls. There's even a crane game where you can play to earn cute little plushes during the dates. This is weird. Alright, now let's talk about the battle system. Like the lives in shiny colors, each type of race in Uma Musume has their own set of conditions. Fans, terrain, number of rivals, you name it. As we mentioned before in shiny, lives are very involved with selecting a judge, a skill, and timing inputs to gain more stars from the judges. However, the most we can intervene in an Uma Musume race will be deciding what position that each girl will be in the race. For example, if we place the girl in the first position, it means that her stamina will be consumed faster. In shiny colors, the strategy for idols can depend on many things like team composition, link appeals, passive skills, or the role of each idol in a unit. Each idol card has many skills that allow it to take different forms, and because the idol is still being raised, the final stats are not entirely affected by whether or not one fails alive. In Uma Musume, the strategy does not depend entirely on the performance in races. Instead, your strategy must be to fulfill each girl's niche. For example, Haru Urara is a regular loser. However, her expertise is in dart races. The hint will always say to go with a balanced build. Then the guides online will say dart races require speed and power? Wait, what? Is that how horse races work? And because you didn't complete all the goals, you'll have less turns to act. In other words, winning the final contest or Ura finals is very important. The goals vary for each girl in the Ura runs. For example, Special Week is about winning predetermined races. On the other hand, Haru Urara is focused on gaining fans first. Winning specific races comes later. The timeline is more established for each run. Each run seems to see the new girl inherit the chosen partner card's skill. Each girl has their own specific main stories. The goals are different for each girl, unlike shiny colors, where the goal of everyone is to simply win Wing, Grad, or whichever the big competition encapsulates the produce run. There are 3D lives after each race that you can watch. They have no real impact on gameplay and are purely there for fun, so no need to really worry about lives. In Uma Musume, the races can be scheduled, at least as an in-game reminder. Pretty convenient. Races are different per turn, so the player may want to pay attention to that. In other words, the trends are fixed in accordance to the in-game date. Uma Musume also has its own fest mode, daily races. You can choose specific races where you assign up to 3 girls to race similar to fest rehearsals. You can assemble a team of up to 15 to race against another player's team online. Accessibility does depend on the player level, however. To level up your cards in shiny colors, the player only needs training tickets or copies of cards to raise the cap. In Uma Musume, it requires many more items such as character jewels or other types of items to level up each card. Both games happen to be very kind of free-to-play players. You can get jewels in Uma Musume for getting first place in races, daily missions, or daily races. In addition, the cost of each roll costs 150, which is quite low by other gacha games' standards. Even better, if you do 200 rolls, you can get the card that is on the banner. Meanwhile, in shiny colors, it takes 300 rolls. The catch in Uma Musume, however, is that there are multiple banners for new cards. Apart from gems, there are other ways to get new cards in Uma Musume, such as using friendship points or exchanging your copies of cards for another currency that will serve to obtain even more cards. The last major difference is that Uma Musume features a guild system, where you can meet up with other players and exchange gifts and items to one another. Anyone that has played Princess Connect Redive, another Cygames game, should be familiar with this system. And that's all we have. Uma Musume borrowed a good chunk of elements from Idolmaster Shiny Colors, but differentiates itself by putting its own spin on mechanics common to not just Shiny, but other racing sims as well. It is more of a passive horse racing game after all. Over the years, the Idolmaster series has grown to add various gameplay mechanics, and with Uma Musume out to add on to the racing sim genre, it will be interesting to see just how this genre evolves from here on out. Fun fact, some fans have pinpointed the locations where the main bases of each game was inspired from. Surprisingly, they're pretty accurate. A very lovely shout out and special thank you to our patrons for supporting us on Patreon, and thank you to everyone writing to us about the gameplay review series. Don't worry, we haven't canceled the series, we just simply had a lot of time on our hands with other projects. We're working on them as you speak, and they should be done whenever they're ready. If you wish to see more Idolmaster Subs content, be sure to subscribe to both of our channels, as we are going to release not only translated commus, but we're also planning on releasing more gameplay reviews and little analysis on the Idolmaster series, such as this video. Thank you so much, and have yourselves a dang great day!